In today's video, we're going to discuss our game plan for this coming week, and I'm going to show you some of the best trades from the prior week. For this entire year, my focus is to help those that are new to stocks or transitioning from Forex and futures into stocks make the transition and become profitable. So we meet weekdays, 9 a.m. Eastern, to discuss our daily game plan, and I'm going to be releasing these weekend videos to discuss my outlook for the week and to recap on some of the best trades from the past week. So let's go ahead and jump in to the big picture. So I typically look at the overall market through the lens of the SPY, Q, and IWM so that I know whether or not I need to be aggressive on the long side or if I need to be more of a scalper or move to move trader. So on the onset of this year, we entered within a range and we saw several spikes down on indices due to news, right? We had the DeepSeek AI announcement, and some of that news was a knee-jerk reaction. So we had a drop here in January, recovery. Again, we had another drop, recovery. We had a drop in February and it recovered. But what we haven't recovered from was the tariffs and the uncertainty there. So this downtrend and upside pressure, this selling pressure that we see here is a result of tariffs, uncertainty. Even Jerome Powell last week, he mentioned uncertainty several times. So what I've been mentioning on our calls and repeating is that until we have a shift in the narrative, it's likely that the rallies should be faded. And stocks appear to be oversold and they appear to be at a discount, but analysts say that they're still actually overvalued, right? We had a long rally. We have to remember at the beginning of 2024, this is where we were just a year ago or so at 471. We have, the S&P has risen almost 30% in 1 year. We needed a pullback, and the technical pullback that we're seeing right now is setting us up for the rally. But as long as we have the uncertainty from the White House, Trump, tariffs, trade wars with different countries, we're going to see that upside pressure. So now we're not just simply in an environment of let's just try to buy the dips. Actually, we need to be careful and take everything day to day, really, because until April 2nd, when Trump announces his plan for tariffs, we have updates from the White House on tariffs, we're likely to stay within this range here until there's further developments. Now, we've looked for tech to save us. The NVIDIAs of the world, NVIDIA was hosting its Quantum Day, so we had a lot of buying up into that. But the Qs and SPY just haven't been able to break this resistance level here. So at best, we're likely to, continue to have some short-term rallies. But until that uncertainty, until that narrative changes, it's not likely that we'll see that rally to the upside until we can break that, like on the Qs, like that 500, 495, 500 level. So with the current environment as is, what am I doing? Typically, I'm trading the hot sectors, the hot themes. But when there's so much uncertainty and we have a lot of volatility day to day, I'm focusing on names that have their own catalysts and that have unusual volume. So let's talk a little bit about some of the names from this week. So CRVO was one of the tickers that started the week before last, and coming into this week, we had continuation. So Monday morning, so we had on March 12th, Wednesday, it popped up on the scan. Before that, no activity. We took some scalps. This is actually after the open. It popped up on the scan. And then Thursday, pre-market, continuation. Friday had a small rally. But coming in on Monday, actually had another catalyst and it continued and it held up into the close very well. And then we had more trading on Tuesday. I've kept CRVO on watch and it went flat. It went lateral for Tuesday and Wednesday and then started to get active again Thursday and Friday. So CRVO is definitely one of the tickers that I would trade. I was making 20 to 40% of my daily stop on this ticker alone because of the range and the amount of opportunities that we saw. Another ticker that was surprising was ADTX. The reason why this was such a surprise is because they announced a reverse stock split that would go into effect on March 17th, which is Monday. And typically a company does a reverse stock split when they're trying not to be delisted from NASDAQ because of their price dropping below a certain point, which is typically not a good sign because the price is decreasing. So ADTX was on a downtrend, as you can see. So when I saw the announcement, we were here on Monday, price dropped. And Tuesday, though, I had these levels marked up and we could see a big gap, which appeared to be a short squeeze there. So actually, it was up on the scan. So started trading it here. And then I was looking at how it was going to hold at this level. Price spiked, dropped, and we see this major gap right here. This is a great sign, and you should look at it because typically these stocks, they should short at this point, right? So we would assume that it would have shorted. But this right here is a sign that the shorts got caught off sides. So when we're on the call in the Profit X community, we saw this together, and I'm like, this is a sign that we're going to continue to the upside. So that gave us several buying opportunities. It eventually started to short later on in the day, back down to VWAP. It had some pops and it held up very nicely. So this was a sign to me that although initially got caught off sides, if this held up, it could run up some more just off of the fact that traders are now just trading against each other, right? It's going to be more shorts because the expected behavior of this now is that, there's a reverse stock split. There's no long-term catalyst behind this move up. So the shorts are going to come in. And if the buyers are able to hold, then we'll have a squeeze, which will lead to a parabolic move. So ADTX provided great scalps. And I would take a look at that. That was Tuesday and Wednesday. Kept it on watch for the rest of the week. And still, I'm not particularly thinking that it's going to continue up higher. But again, we never know what's going to happen and we have to be aware. Typically something like this that doesn't have the long-term catalyst backing it, it would make sense that this will start to short off and become an obvious short for those on the short side. Another stock is XHLD. It initially didn't gain my attention when it first started to rally on Tuesday because I'm typically not looking at the stocks that are below $1. But this one announced a share buyback program, which indicates that the company believes that it's undervalued and is going to take shares away from the public, which will reduce the supply. And the market typically sees this as a positive. So as soon as I saw this, that announcement and the float volume, everything lined up with my reasons to trade, this one became one that we watched for Wednesday, and it shorted off on Thursday, which is typical of these types of stocks. But I was looking at this to be a potential reclaim here. And the thought process was that it should short back down to where it originally started to rally. But if it didn't, then this may be a candidate for the long side, which it was. So it became a candidate and we started to trade that. So XHLD was one that I would go back and study. On this call, I'm talking through a few things, the logic behind the stock selection. So I'm looking for stocks that have high volume, high relative volume, that have a fresh news catalyst, intraday or a longer term catalyst. And I want those that have a low float because that's what leads to that parabolic move. So if you look at the float of CRVO, ADTX, XHLD, the float for all of those is, I'm sure offhand, I could say under 5 million, right? So that's what leads to that parabolic move. Demand rushes into those stocks, and those are the stocks that give us the ability to apply our momentum setups to them. So just a note on how much these stocks are rendering. So I have a daily stop, and each of my trades are about 10 to 15% risk of the daily stop. So these trades, like each trade can give me about 15 to 30% of the daily stop. But one ticker, if it's hot, that it may offer several opportunities. So I may get 50 to 60% of my current daily stop from one ticker. So if you come from futures or Forex, where you focused on one ticker alone, we obsessed over having capital, higher amounts of capital, which makes sense. you can scale your strategy by having access to more capital. But having conversation with the pros and understanding how some 7-figure traders start off with 100K, right, and end up making $1 million or more in a year, which I thought was impossible at one point, but I see the reality now. So what's the game plan for this week? So this week, I really want to see what happens with the quantum names. So I'll be showing up day after day, looking for the stocks that have their own catalysts that give us the fresh news. But when it comes to sectors, I'm going to be looking at the quantum names to see if we have a rally to the upside. So that's QBT. So as you see, like we had a sell-off and then QBT rallied on Friday, right? So they're closely tied to the movements of NVIDIA and the perception of quantum computing, okay? So I'll be looking at the basket. So QBT, QBTS, RGTI, those are the names that I'll be most interested in following from a theme perspective. Also, some of the AI names like SoundHound AI and tech names like PLTR, SMCI, these are the names that I'll be taking a look at, or the lower priced stocks that move with these, okay? All right, now that'll end our review. Again, recap, showing up every day, focusing on consistency. I'm not focused on big trades right now. I'm just focused on consistency, getting in the market, making 20, 30, 40% of my daily stop on a trade and trying to just catch as many scalps or move to move trades as possible. I'm a long side trader and the market was down trending, so I had to scalp and take as much profit as I could quickly. Now that the market is starting to move sideways, we may have more potential to the upside, but I'm waiting for the turn on the market. And once we start to have that recovery rally, that's when I'll start to hold on to some of those trades a little bit longer. So now I'm just focused on 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 1 at times, just quick scalps and making money, staying confident, having a positive mindset. So if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments section. I'm also going to be announcing an event that we're going to have in Miami in September, where I bring some 7- and 8-figure traders for us to meet and discuss, to network with, to ask questions. So look out for that information soon. I appreciate you all for watching the videos. Please like and subscribe. If you want to see a recent video that I did on hotkeys and fast execution, watch this video.